that's when it started. I had a little idea, and then it actually sat on my computer for 5 years, and then and it had always been there in the background because we're doing Basement Jaxx. It wasn't the sort of thing I was going to play in festivals. It wasn't like peak time, but it was very much about my deep house love, which is always, yeah, I mean, deep house as it used to be, not what it is now. It's become a little bit more pop, and it to me it was always a very kind of centered spiritual feelings.
We wanted to sign the record because I loved the song. I just thought it was very kind of mournful and you know, angst-ridden, a very emotional vocal and lyric, and I just fell in love with it. I just thought it was a really well produced, soulful house record. It's just which is what always gets me.
Actually, I just put this out because this was basically what I was kind of in love with very much, like deep house, and I was a big Mr. Fingers fan, and yeah, so for me, I've always kind of had a connection. And actually, my dad being a vicar, I always used to, when I'd be in church on a Sunday, during the communion, they had the deep organ music, which to me was the same of my love for deep house. It's the same kind of area, and it's a sphere that probably where you calm your mind and then you're in your body a bit more.
Was so hooked on your loving in particular. I think it's just got soul to it, and you know, that's hard to formulate. You can't sort of engineer that. It's like a track's either got it or it hasn't, and this track definitely has soul.
That's what I like about great songs. You can play them at a cozy fireplace with a guitar. You know, if it's great, almost like a Beatles song, you can do a banging mix to it, you can do a soul mix to it, you can do whatever. If the song is great, it will stand the test of time, and that's, I think, it's a case with this one.
Where I was working in King's Cross in the cafe, there was a girl called Gia. She was working there, and I'd seen her for the last year, and I thought she seemed like a sensuous woman. She was really cool, kind of honest, truthful. So I spoke to her and I said, would you be able to come one lunchtime and just sing this thing quickly? It'll take like 15 minutes. And so that's what she did. I think we did one take where she sang really soft, which I often do with singers to try and get, because we're in a world where everyone's shouting, and you don't, I mean, I don't want that. It kind of the X Factor, like, you know, belt people slapping around the face. It's kind of, and this track was about sensuality and to have that atmosphere. So we did a pared down, very close take, and then a more hype tape, and then she went, and then she went back to work.
The singer on Selace has been, I mean, they sang the record, they come to their arrangement with Felix, and all the contractual obligations have been on it, but they just haven't really wanted to be involved in the record or the promotion, and again, that's something we have to respect. But I just want to make it clear that we absolutely want to make sure that anyone that's involved in our releases and that are part of the creativity and whatever, that they are credited accordingly. We commissioned Mousse T because he understands the complexities of a song. He can work around chords and key progressions and lyrics. And again, that's something that many modern day producers sometimes struggle with, if I'm being honest. So Mousse is one of our go-to guys when it comes to that kind of situation, and he delivered.
I mean, for me, the first time I heard the track, obviously what really jumps at you is the vocal. So that was my main focus. So I kind of not even considered to use any like vocal elements or something. I did use some little FX gimmicks that they had in the original tracks, but apart from that, I knew from the very get-go, you know, that the vocal is going to be my playground, and I can basically freely do whatever I can. I'm allowed to be honest.
We were hitting decent numbers on streaming. We knew it was a record that our audience really connected with, and so we want to kind of keep them in the shop window, so to speak. And you know, Gorgon City being again, being a producer that understands the structure of songs and can work around chords, etc., whilst being very contemporary and being a huge act at this moment in time, seemed to be like one of the obvious and only choices that we could make in terms of someone that could tackle the song, and it works out amazingly well.
Normally when we remix it, it's like normally the first idea that comes in your head is what you go with. So we're with this track, So Hooked on Your Loving, it was the bass line that came into our head first of all, and we were like, right, yeah, we can base the whole remix just around this bass line. Yeah, the thing I loved about the original was that sort of organ chord progression. We really wanted to keep those chords in because they're like so soulful and like just so nice and just work so well with that vocal. But we replayed them on our sort of Rhodes piano, and I think that's sort of quite a signature sound of ours. We use that like a lot in our like album tracks, so we kind of put that in there, like, you know, just replaying it, keeping it sort of Gorgon City vibes.
I think generally in life, I don't try and have expectations, because that only leads to disappointment. So it's kind of, yeah, and it's a waste of time in my book, really. It's kind of live, create, do stuff, kind of try and get over yourself, you know, and not get too precious about things. And I think if things are good, then hopefully they will somehow energetically find their way into the world. And even if it's not big or whatever, I don't know. With that, I didn't really care. So there was zero expectations. So yeah, so I'm really pleased that people are enjoying it and getting into it. And I think the remixes are great. I think Mousse T and Gorgon City have done two different directions and done a really good job.